Welcome to What's on the Menu. We air every first and third Sundays of the month on Boston Praise Radio 102.9 FM, Roku, Apple TV, Facebook, and YouTube. Today's show, Black Businesses in the Black Community. Here are our hosts, Tracy Litthcut and James Levesque.
Here we go, here we go, here we go. Can you hear me? All right, you can hear me, but I can't hear you. Jay Jizzy, we're back in the mix for What's on the Menu. Where you been, man? What's been going on?
Well, Trey, I see you dripping sweat, so I just got you some tissue.
Thank
real
you
quick.
very much, man. You know, I think I brought some of the sun back from Aruba with
you looking real tan.
Yeah,
I see.
I'm feeling tan.
You and the lovely girl. You guys look phenomenal.
Just doing it, Jay. Doing it. You know, so we decided to come back this week, folks, and really be thick about our conversation. I went to Aruba and I saw some things where folks were being very supportive of the locals that were there. So I said, well, what about our locals? Mm-hmm. Do people in the black community support black businesses? I remember, Jay, at one point we did an after-work set.
Oh, that was a spot,
at the Hampton Inn. Mm-hmm. You know, we had live band. It was like a show.
Yep.
We had free parking. Mm-hmm. All we asked for was $10 so people could come in, have an entertaining time. Mm-hmm. People said that was too much.
Trey, what you know, $5? Too much.
We lowered it to $5.
No, that's too much.
That's too much, Jay.
We want to get in front.
So in other words, and then when people would come through the door, everybody wanted a deal. Mm-hmm. Can I get drink tickets? Can I get this? Can I get that? How does a black business survive if our own community doesn't support them? What we have today, we have some royalty in our house today. Some folks who are going to talk about the issues in the community, in the black community, especially around doing business in the black community. To my left, we have a good friend of mine, Cameron Zahidi. His company's called Urbanica. He does development in the neighborhoods, and he's been very good to us with this show and very good to the community, I believe. Say hello, Cameron.
Cameron's, I hear you from Urbanica, president of Urbanica. Thank you.
All right. You a little nervous, Cameron?
No.
All right. That's good to hear. Now, when I talk about royalty, I'm now rising to the level of queenship, Jay. Queenship. We have a woman that's in the house today, Mukia Gomez. I don't know what to say about this woman because she's done everything. She got our second black governor in nation's history elected.
Amen.
She is that person. You might see her in the camera. I'm hoping I'm being heard. Can everyone hear me? All right, but I can't hear you. All right, her name is Mukia Gomez Baker, and she is here today to give some reality to black folks in our community. Say hello, Mukia.
Good afternoon.
You got to come into that microphone for us,
Good
Mukia.
afternoon, everyone.
All right, thank you very much. How do we get by in our community without having quality legal services?
That's right.
Quality legal services. I said it again, quality legal services. This gentleman is quality from beginning to end. Former New England Patriot, so you know how much I love him. Former New England Patriot, but he does illegal service. He does, not illegal, he does legal services.
Wow.
He does legal services in our community. His name is Eddie Jenkins. Say hello, Eddie.
Hello. I don't know if I want to come in behind all that. You could get someone in trouble on the radio. You know how your listeners are. They be Googling you before I finish speaking.
I'm sorry about that, Ed.
That's all right.
And one other person, it's a real pleasure to have this gentleman in the house. This gentleman at one point controlled our social activity in Boston. Used to give the best functions, parties. I used to come all the way from Baltimore from college for the holidays just to be a part of his parties. Not to mention now, he's the owner of Callaway Graphics as well as one of the owners of Slade's Bar and Grill, probably the only real social environment that black folks can feel comfortable like it's their own. And they have some slamming fried chicken, Jay.
Yes, they do.
Slamming fried chicken. Say hello, my man, Terrell Callaway.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me to this panel. I look forward to engaging.
Okay, all right. I'm glad everybody's here today. So let's just get into this discussion. First, I'd like to just start with Mukia, and then we'll go around to the other private business owners. Mukia, what has been your role in the community around black business?
Well, for over 35 years, I've been involved with both civil rights and economic development within the city of Boston and also within the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Only 35 years? Is that what you said?
Yes, 35 years. And during that time, I have seen an unbelievable change and evolution in our community, one, around the number of businesses, and two, around the types of businesses.
Okay.
There was a time when we had an abundance of black-owned businesses in the community, and they were throughout the community. We now are very segregated, I would say, in terms of certain areas of the community where black businesses are located, and unfortunately, other areas of our community don't business there.
Okay.
So we have to really be very conscious about how we're doing our marketing and educating our people about where we are, what we provide, and how we can be financially helpful to them.
I like that. And folks, please, I know for myself, I'm not very happy with the way black folks do business in the black community. I try my best to spend my dollars with my black business partners, and because I know how important that is to the survival of our existence, to our business existence, and to our community. Cameron, talk to us. What are you doing right now in the community? I know you're a developer. You've been a friend and a partner of mine for quite some years. Talk to us, Cameron.
Yeah. Basically, I got involved. I'm a real estate developer and designer, and around 2011, I was asked by City of Boston to look at some real estate development in Roxbury. And the first one actually was creating Energy Plus housing in Roxbury. And I'm kind of proud because that was kind of a unique project. So put pretty much Roxbury on the map internationally, because that project got many, many awards. So whenever I see, they say the first energy positive house or housing in Roxbury. So that basically was a start. Then later on Parcel 9, during Mayor Menino, they asked me to look at, come up with a proposal for that parcel. And I should say at that time, the idea, I did not have that much understanding or knowledge of need for this community. I thought basically you can solve everything with a good design. I really wasn't really involved with the meet and greet of the whole, community. And back then, the city wanted to mix income, like market rate income, into the Roxbury, because they thought around the Dudley Square there are lots of affordable housing. Somehow they want to bring more market rate, so create more consumption power in the community. So I was asked, look at it, and we put a proposal. We created a team, part of the minority and some other business world, and it was a combination of the hotel and residential. But more I got into the understanding about the need of the community. You see that it's not, because at the beginning I thought, okay, we should really bring the services that you have in Seaport to the Roxbury. But then, I understand now that's not probably just the answer right now. An answer, you really need to bring the income level of the community higher and then create more businesses after that.
I like that example because I don't think there's anybody in this room that does not want their income level to go higher. I know I do.
At least from $8.
You know what I mean? You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? So let's go on to Eddie Jenkins. Eddie Jenkins, talk to us a little bit about what you do.
Well, I'm a community lawyer. I think that many of you who have lived in town long enough realize that there aren't many African Americans who have their own practice in our community that will basically serve the basic needs that we need. I started out as working in the federal government, prosecuting mining companies in Appalachia, basically defending the rights of miners.
Wow.
And then I went on to prosecute for 4 years in Middlesex County, and then with the help of people like Makia and Terrell, I ran for district attorney against Newman Flanagan. And one of the things we want to do is really to not just prosecute people, but prosecute conditions that cause people to act out, and to give them the kind of support that actually is the new criminal reform bill. That's what they're really talking about. We talked about that back in 1990. But Robert Johnson and myself, we wanted to develop a community practice that really addressed the needs of our community. Very seldom, if you draw a circle around about 3 miles from my office, there are very few lawyers that will help you with your basic needs. And I mean that we are in crisis. We're in a crisis in the housing courts, we're in crisis in the family courts, and certainly we're in crisis in the criminal courts. So who is there to stand in the gap for us? Very few lawyers. You
Sure.
go down to Dudley and different places, they'll take your personal injury money,
Oh, absolutely.
but will they address the general needs of your family?
That's right.
So we developed a community practice that would basically look to some of the areas that very others wouldn't, and most was criminal. And so I started out in the criminal law sector, and we did some personal injury, and Bob did most of the civil rights cases. And so we developed a small practice there, and I went to the public sector and came back. And I now developed my new practice over in Grove Hall. So basically, we try to do the same thing in Grove Hall.
You know, I'm going to say this to my folks that are listening and folks that are out there in the community. What is wrong with you? Come on, we have quality in our community, and we do not take advantage of it. And it's time for us to open our eyes and take advantage of the quality folks, the bright folks that we have in our community. Terrell, you're up next, my brother.
I guess my description of business can be both social and giving back, and I guess they call me a serial entrepreneur. So
Okay.
I've been a part of a number of businesses, mostly in the entertainment game.
You doing the fun stuff.
Yeah, the fun stuff, the fun end of it. But, with social engagement. So some of the things I've done is created the first $1 million plus nightclub some 30 years ago, the Gallery nightclub.
That place was
$2
hopping.
million plus nightclub. Nothing like it has ever, was developed back then. Once that business sort of, it hasn't ever teetered out with me. I've always been a part of bringing social events to the community. I started a full-service graphics and printing company some 13 years ago. That's been going extremely well. And most recently, one of the founding partners of Slade's, Bar and Grill, the new Slade's, that's just resurfaced.
You are one of the most important partners because your visibility brings in folks.
Absolutely.
You absolutely.
Yeah, I had this one question that
Yes.
I've always heard about all the famous parties that you used to have. It used to be so exclusive. I heard that maybe this is what I heard, right? That you used to have brothers used to have to come in with their pay stub of what they make. Is that true or is that a false? I don't know if is that true or not, because your parties were so exclusive that people was like, yo, it was, I don't know. This is what I heard. Somebody told me, like, man, tell you to have these parties, you have to come in with your pay stub.
No. So for the teens, no, this was a teen. We had something that the kids, on one of our nights was a teen night. They had to bring in their report card.
Oh, okay.
And
Right.
it was a teen night that we
It was a
did.
pay stub.
Yeah, it wasn't a pay stub. So no.
That would be illegal, wouldn't it? You would need some Eddie shaking services.
Yeah, we had a
See, we could have a business fraction right here, or infusion rather,
Right.
because Cameron and Eddie and Terrell can make a deal right now on getting this brother entertainment into the new hotel he's building.
Look at this. That's what 35 years of service in the community does. Makia's Gomez Baker said, let's organize something right here. And that makes sense to me because we need a social scene.
We're talking about Melnia Cass Boulevard and Washington Street, the heart of the black community.
Absolutely.
Absolutely gets the most traffic flow of any area within the community. And wouldn't it be a phenomenal thing if we had black entertainment in the new hotel?
Absolutely. I like that. We're going to come back to it, but I want to go to some of the things that folks said initially. So, Eddie, I want to ask you a question. And this seems to be this facade that goes on in our community. Someone gets in trouble, they need an attorney. The first thing that they always say is, I don't know about the black attorneys. It seems as though it makes folks feel better at times if they're in trouble and they go into court with a white attorney. Do you ever get that feeling that occurs within the community around
it's the
business?
Opposite. When they get in trouble, they come to the black attorney.
Okay.
When it's about money, it's the white attorney.
Okay.
So Johnny Cochran, when he finished the O.J. Simpson trial, we had a occasion to have breakfast with him. Charles Ogletree arranged a breakfast over Harvard. And so we brought in a lot of judges and lawyers sitting around the table. And he says, you guys really don't know me. You see me on television. You don't know that I've gone through some stuff like you have as lawyers. He said, in California, I save people's lives because we have the death penalty. He said, and one time, man, I saved this brother's life. And I'm driving down the street, and I see he's got this Bentley. And I said, brother man, what happened to you? You're doing so well. He said, oh man, I got hit by a truck, Johnny. Johnny said, well, why didn't you call me? He said, oh Johnny, I didn't know you did that.
Oh,
now
okay.
Johnny done saved this man's life, but yet he won't go to him for the money cases. No, they come to us for the hard cases. They come to us when their their freedom is on the line. No, it's the money they don't think that we have an interest and know how the ability to control.
Okay.
Well, I think that really reflects on what our history is about in terms of attorneys. Remember, my age group was oriented to civil rights attorneys. That the most that we saw and heard from were civil rights attorneys. We very rarely heard from business-related attorneys. So when Eddie and his colleagues got into the mix around business, it was like a misnomer. Like, what are you doing here? This is not your. This should not be your niche. Well, everything in law is a niche, because I just want to give this lesson out to your audience.
Okay.
Mel King gave a lesson at
And for our national, international leaders, who is Mel King?
Mel King is a former state representative and former candidate for mayor of the city of Boston. And he gave this lesson at the Harriet Tubman House, and he put the word politics on the board. There were about 30 of us in the room. And he asked everyone, what's the prominent letter in politics? Nobody knew. The answer is I. Why? Because everything in your life revolves around politics. No matter how much in denial people want to be, from the street traffic flow to the gas lines coming into your home, everything revolves around politics. And we have to be actively involved. In order for our community to understand the importance of our attorneys, our legal professionals, and our business owners, we have to be cognizant of the fact that every time we turn over $1 in our community, that equals a job for somebody.
That's right. That's right.
That's how we have to think about it.
I'm curious too. Just I think this. I'm bringing up these examples from my point of view. I see black businesses at one time doing well. That I see them not there. There seems to be some type of struggle. I'd like to hear from the panel. I mean, has it been a struggle working in the black community, trying to get the black community to come out and support you consistently with the services that you provide?
Yeah, I think, let me address that question as a business owner and have gone through the ups and downs. And so I think what brings to mind is I opened a full-service graphics and printing center right down in Dudley. Got a little loan, probably a $300,000 copy center. I had all the machines in there and all the support. And it was disastrous. It was the worst business I ever did. We thought we would get support from the city and from private business. And still today, there's really no money down in Dudley. Unless you're doing a hair shop or one of those, it's terrible. And so like I said, we were in business and we were out of business within a year.
Wow. And that's because the community didn't come out and support you.
Everybody, it was one of the, and we did our research, we did our homework, and that was one of the businesses, one of the top 3 businesses that the community said they wanted, but nobody came to the plate to support us.
Wow.
And one thing I should say, I think the networking among businesses in this community is very important, because honestly, Makia said very good thing. He is in entertainment business. He's a lawyer, and there's an opportunity to do some businesses. And I think we do not have enough networking events among the community. For instance, for some minority constructions, they have these minority associations. I think that has helped lots of the minority subs to get jobs. And honestly, if we didn't have the access to that kind of networking, we couldn't, get the jobs to the minority subcontractors. So I think on the rest of the areas in the businesses, it's very important the black community starts to create some networking events.
Can I say something to that as well? So that we did see that as a need, and me and a few partners, we started an organization called BECMA, Black Economic Council of Massachusetts. We started about 3 years ago. We now have about 300 members, and we're going to start this in January, introducing the organization and doing networking events where we're going to target different business sectors to come out on a monthly basis and learn about what other people are doing in the community.
You know, I can remember too, Terry, at one time before Beckman was even established, you talked quite a bit about developing a black chamber of commerce.
That's right.
That kind of, I think,
That
trickled into that.
That's right.
But I want to ask folks another question too. When I talk about black business, you know, I think people make an assumption that only folks from the black community should be supporting your business. If it's difficult getting the black community to come out and support your business, how does it work for you trying to get other people from outside the community to come in and support your businesses?
I just want to say this in regard to how black businesses can be a lot more successful. And I think we make a lot of assumptions about the customer base in our community. And I think every day is a marketing opportunity. For instance, I'd like to see Terrell come in competition with Conley Advertising. They do all the political posters, literature, everything. This brother has a printing company. He has a graphic design component. He can do the same thing. He can be a competitor. The problem is that we have not done the kind of promotion and outreach we need to do to target certain areas. Every single nonprofit in our community prints something.
That's right.
They should all be buying their services from Terrell. He's the
right.
only black-owned printer in the greater Boston area.
Sure.
We used to have AMF Mailing, which was owned by a black brother on Blue Hill Avenue, and he had the only mail service that allowed anybody, whether you're a nonprofit or a candidate for public office, to do multiple mailings at a very reasonable fee. Those are the services that many of the organizations and the entities in our community are looking for.
Sure.
And unless they know about it, they're going to go to the people who are saying, no, go to Conley or go to whoever, but don't go to the black-owned business because they don't know about it.
I'm going to come back to that in 1 second. I want to first I want to apologize because the discussion is going a little different. We normally go to our national listeners and viewers, but we kind of skipped that because we're moving a little slower here. I want to hear from our sponsors. Before we move any further, though, we are joined by one of the most fabulous dancers in our community. Miss Faja Harris is here, and I wish this was on TV because she get up and do a famous dance for us. But we're not. She can't be seen. I just want to say thank you, Faja, for being here. That's who is our sponsor show. Let's see if she can get through this without making a mistake.
Our local sponsors: Urbanica Building Design, Eddie Jenkins Law, Callaway Graphics, Sweet Embers Bakery, J. Rockwell Sound Studio, Shun's Kitchen, Janie Construction, Leo Papil, George Kramer, and some anonymous donors.
That's one half of it. That's one half.
Our
Here we
national
go.
sponsors: Better Belly out of Chicago, Illinois, The Shop, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, Apon Concept Productions out of Miami, Florida, and Campaign Industries out of Chicago, Illinois.
Oh, there we go. That's her first time. Oh my goodness, she did it. But let's go back into this. Eddie, Terrell, and I'm just going to put it out there. A lot of folks won't talk about it. Are you able to get support? I would assume that the biggest businesses in the world, everybody's buying from them. Black, white, Latino, Asian, everyone's buying from them. Are your businesses solely being supported now by the black community, black and Latino community? And how difficult and can you possibly get the white community and other communities to come out and to do business with you?
Well, I really didn't look at that market until last year. When someone
But if you're good, you're good.
someone came in and said, where are you on Google? I said, what do you mean? They said,
Oh, you an old head, Eddie. That's what you said. You an old head.
we were Googling, we only had one comment. And that, so we started Googling and we realized that that's where the world was. And so now no one comes in, almost no person under 30 comes into the office that hasn't Googled me first and realized the rating system that I have, because that's what they go by. And they they read all the comments. That's where the world is now. And so you have to really go to that market if you want to get the people under 30. They're going to research you and find out whether you're a good fit for them.
And I'm just not having this panel discussion just to have it today. I'm pleading folks to get involved with quality businesses in our community. There is no reason why that we have to go outside of our community, that sometimes you don't even have to use Google. You drive around the corner and you see the sign that says Eddie Jenkins, attorney at law, and he's been around for a long time and he has a quality service. Terrell, have you been able to tap in to other markets yourself in regards to the businesses that you've been involved with?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of support systems out there for particular minority businesses. The main issue has been, and I've even seen it, is black businesses or minority businesses that meet the competency. You have to be prepared. You have to have 5 years of taxes. You want to get on some of these vendor lists from the state and the city. You have to be qualified, and qualification means a lot of these small businesses don't understand. You got to have tax returns. You got to, you have to do business right. It's no longer cash. Let's do this cash, because now you set yourself up. You have no record of your business, and you go into any bank, you're going to get laughed at, trying to pull together a shoebox full of, we're not there anymore. And so that's one of the big setbacks, is preparing, young entrepreneurs to, like Spike Lee said, do the right thing. You got to do the right thing. So playing the slick role is not going to get you there.
Yeah, I want to even mention this. As Cheryl was reading, one of our producers read the sponsors that were involved, Jay. We have 3 of them here. Urbanica, Eddie Jenkins at Law, and Callaway Graphics. Our show would not be possible if it were not for our sponsors. Absolutely. Then we have Mukia here that gives support in so many other ways to encourage us to continue to do these things. But it seems to me that a lot of folks, nonprofits and other groups in the community, will go to a black business and are looking for philanthropic opportunities. How does a business succeed and get to a certain...
You said philanthropic. That's a big word. Bring that down.
Okay, bring that down some. Okay.
What is that?
They always want folks to spend money with them, for them to give money in order for them supposedly to get support from the community. I don't think that's fair. I think that's a very difficult position, to give money back and you're trying to continue to move forward. Those are the larger companies. I think it's the other way around. We have to figure out how to support them first, so that way they can give. And I'm going to say that would include this radio station as well. How do we get support? Have you panelists, seen this type of thing? Has it occurred to you that the community always expects you to give before they provide to you, so your business will survive?
Well, as a lawyer, we have these famous Latin words called pro bono. Oh, you know what that means?
I know that word.
All right. So that's built really into our philanthropic structure, that we must do this. And it's also built into your heart. If you've been around long enough, you're going to end up giving it away anyway. So there should be a proper balance between how much pro bono work done and how much for profit work you've done. So you have to have a healthy balance. Unfortunately, in a lot of small businesses, you get too much pro bono work and you don't get enough for profit work, and your business will fail if you don't have the right balance.
Sure. How about Tara?
But all of our organizations and businesses in our community should think first black owned. You see, every last one, the community development corporations, they're getting paid already through our tax dollars.
Sure.
All right, and the tenants who rent from them are paying already. So there's no need to pay up front for anything at this point. The first thing that needs to happen is that the leadership of all of these organizations and these businesses need to understand they need to share the wealth. And it needs to be a first thought, not a seventh or eighth thought. Not after they've already gone through 4 or 5 white businesses that are charging them up the kazoo and they realize, we are being taken here, or the service is not equal to the pay. They need to think black first.
That's right.
And if they can't think that, then they need to stop representing themselves as our community, as providing services to our people.
One thing I'm going to say about that, Mukia, is I've always said to folks, we're not going to let anybody outside the community to determine who our leadership is, who our businesses that we should support. We need folks to stop driving by the folks that need our support more than anything, and those are the folks that give their support all the time. Cameron, have you experienced
Yeah.
this in your?
Yeah, we get lots of calls for basically general helps, but I personally think we look at every cause that they come ask for some kind of a donations or some kind of a dollar goes to their organization. You know, how that organization benefit that community. Because as a businessman, if that community gets healthier, gets more educated, gets, as I said, more income to that community, it's better for our business. So we think, we are just don't look at it, you are giving, let's say, to this station because you just ask for it. I personally think it just brings the level of understanding of different people in the community, more about the community, and that really helps. It's not going to happen overnight, but I think it helps, you know, the businesses in that community by bringing the level of educations and understanding and knowledge, you know, more in that community. So anything is regarding, you know, helping that cause, we are for it. You know.
And Jay, you know what I've seen a lot of times too, Jay? I'll spread a rumor. I don't like that James Levesque, and he's doing business in our. So I'm not spending a dime with him, you know. And then that rumor will get spread all around the community that this person's not doing this for the community. They ain't this. They ain't that. Do you have to be liked? Does the community have to like you to do business? I'm not going to mention names, but there's one black businessman in this community I know no one likes him, but no one likes him, and I get it all the time, but he continues to be successful.
Customer service. It's critically important. Our people understand good customer service. If somebody walked into Eddie's office or into Terrell's office and was received inappropriately, that would send a negative impression of that business to that individual.
Sure.
Customer service, no matter who's providing it to you, is critically important when you're spending your money and when you're trying to find out where the resources are in order to help you out, whatever your circumstances are. I think, well, I'll just tell you, I was born and bred in Roxbury, and many of the establishments that we went to as young people, we were well respected. Why? Because we were spending money. I mean, really, it was no simpler than that. We were spending money. Skippy White's made a mint off of black children in the black community. Spinelli's made a mint, was able to sell out and expand other places. There are a number of businesses that were and still remain in the black community that are doing exceptionally well. The problem is we don't have enough promotion of them. I'd like to see our community newspapers highlight businesses more.
That's right.
And really educate our community around what that business offers and some of the things that the business has done.
Well, let me say something that I know about you, Mokia. You've been doing 35 years of work in the community. I've seen other groups, after their leadership has done all this tremendous work in the community, they'll hire those people back later as consultants. I want to say to my community, why are people knocking at her door consistently right now? And just the smaller things that I know, our nation's second black governor wouldn't have been in place if it wasn't for Mukia Gomez-Baker. There wouldn't be a lot of people that would be in affordable housing at this time if it wasn't for her leadership. There were a lot of people that would not be able to get by our Corey, and have a job because they did time in jail. Why aren't we knocking at her door now to give her business? And that's right, I'm holding our community hostage right now. I'm holding you accountable. Stop giving back to your community. Stop all the chitter-chatter and all the nonsense that you talk about when you don't want to get outside your doors and get involved. If you don't want to do it, hire Mukia Gomez-Baker as your consultant, and she'll get it done.
Trey, I wanted to say this point because a lot of times, as I'm hearing everybody talk, and right now in the times that we're living in, it's going to allow us to circle the wagons. We're going to have to, like, as black folks, start really supporting each other because you see what's happening in the White House. You see how police brutality, all these different things is happening. I think for a while, back in, in those, I shouldn't say back in those days, but back in those days, right, we had to support.
Are you saying back in the days? Are you talking about the 70s or?
I'm talking about.
That's my day. Okay, don't make it look at me like I'm that old now. Back in the day, I hope you're going back further.
A little bit further.
Okay.
So I feel like blacks almost had to support each other because they ain't had nobody else to really support each other. Nobody else to support them. So as things started to, integration started happening and things started, coming together, it's like we kind of got away from that a little bit. And in reality, we have to really come in, really circle the wagons, and like really support Mr. Calloway, support Eddie Jenkins, support what not only their businesses, other people who's having businesses as well, and not really look down on them, and really start trusting each other.
So when you say things are changing, would that be in reference to Ayanna Pressley becoming a congresswoman? And I have to publicly apologize. I did not support you, but you are our congresswoman, and I am happy for you and proud of you, black woman, and you have my support now.
Absolutely.
Could we be talking about Rachel Rollins?
Could we talk about 4 black women that won without the support of any of the political establishment in the city?
And who might that be, Mukia? I'm not sure who those people are. Who are they?
Liz Miranda, Nika, can't remember Nika's last name, Rachel, and Ayanna. All of them won without any support from anybody.
Things are changing. We have a phone call.
Think about that.
We have things
Think about
changing.
the fact that Rachel Rollins got over 80% of the vote, that Ayanna beat out a long-term incumbent. First run. I mean, you just, the phenomenal impact of what our last election means is the kind of stuff, the reason why Eddie ran, the reason why you had a lot of people run, because they do see the opportunity to be able to make a change.
And once again, let's start supporting our community. That was a start. Let's hear from our caller. Caller, are you there? Caller, are you there?
Call you
Yeah,
Go ahead.
All right. Please tell us your name and where you're from.
Hello, this is Priscilla Flint Banks, and I'm from Boston.
Hey, Priscilla,
And
how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm
Good.
sitting here, and I'm watching, listening and watching the show, and I just want to thank Cameron, Makia, and Terrell Calloway, because Makia is one of our advisors, and Cameron supports our BG report, and we do business with Terrell as far as our printing. And so we want to thank them, for their support of the Black Economic Justice Institute. And we hope that we can continue to work with them. And
You still there? Hello?
yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you have another caller? Hey, but what I want to say too, in regards to Priscilla Flint, does wonderful work in the community, and once again, our nonprofits need to be supported in that way as well. Do you get a lot of support from the community around your projects, Priscilla?
Sometimes we do get support, and sometimes we don't. It's with everything that you do,
That's
But for those that do support us, we are thankful.
Well, what do you want to say to the part of the black community that doesn't support you?
Well, we want to say that, BG is an advocate agency. We do advocacy work. We fight for jobs. We fight to stem the tide of gentrification, and we train our young folks to be civically engaged, and we teach them about civic engagement. So, we support as far as like volunteers, donations, whatever people can do, because it's about our community.
Yeah. That's right. Once again, folks, Priscilla, thank you for calling. I want to say to folks, please, give to your community businesses, to the folks that you see every day. And you're looking at yourself in the mirror. These are the same people that are trying to get out here and make our community better. I want to ask a question of the panel, and I want to give kind of a background on this. Dudley Station. I've lived in Boston all my life. Dudley Station from 7 a.m. in the morning till 4 o'clock in the afternoon is a very vibrant place. It's a big transportation port where buses come in and go out to all over the city. At 3:30, 4 o'clock, it shuts down like a ghost town. I don't understand it. Can folks on this panel give me some reason why people do not continue to stay in that neighborhood as well as the weekends, Saturday and Sunday? Nothing happened. And I want to give a plug to Miss Cheryl Strada that owns a black restaurant in that area called Soleo. Quality food, good prices. She owned a place in Grove Hall at one time called Keith's Place, and I think the community was pretty good to her because I used to hate it, but I wanted that food, and I'd have to stand in line, Jay. But I'd stand and wait. But can anyone tell me why Dudley is not vibrant?
Drugs, crime, drugs, crime.
And
If
lack
you've
of
noticed
policing.
recently, at night there's a 24-hour police detail right in the center of Dudley Station that's there all night because of drugs and crime. What's her name? The head of Main Streets, Dudley.
Joyce Stanley.
Joyce Stanley told me just last week. She says prostitution is up right in Dudley Station. People having tricks right on the street in the alleys.
Yeah, I did see that video.
There's a video.
Oh, there's a video. Social media. Oh my goodness.
I mean, it is horrendous, and you know the opioid thing is coming to the black community in a big way. It's not just the white folks. It's spreading out crazy, and Dudley seems to be the epicenter of all of that stuff. And
that began when they closed the island where everyone,
That's
Long Island, when they closed Long Island, there was an influx of people, homeless people in particular, that came into Dudley. And as a result of that, the lack of police enforcement became even much more significant because very few people felt safe.
But at certain hours though,
no, but see,
it's
the
vibrant.
MBTA police are in Dudley all the time.
Yeah.
I come through Dudley, I don't see them doing anything.
Yeah.
I don't see
Amen.
them talking to people who are either loud or people who are inappropriately behaving. I don't see them doing anything. So as long as that behavior is allowed to continue, it will continue.
Okay.
As far as I think, and based on my observations, I think Dudley area needs lots of affordable housing, lots of housing after in that neighborhood. So if you have many people in that neighborhood, probably the percentage of the people that coming, with drugs, probably going to be not that significant. So I definitely promote, many housings there, affordable housing, because I think that's the only front left in Boston to create a good affordable housing, because the seaport is gone, downtown gone, the Fenway is gone, and I think Dudley has a very good opportunity to do that. And
But can you tell us how realistic is that when you can buy, they're selling condos right in Dudley for, $1 million?
Yeah, that's what I said. It has to be affordable housing. I personally think city has to put there lots of effort, state has to put lots of effort, and create some subsidy for a right developer to come with the right program to create housing. I think housing shouldn't be a product for selling it for much more money, especially in that neighborhood. It should be kind of right of the community to have a good housing. And we actually studied, Dudley very good, and I think education is a big important factor. You have lots of schools there. You have the school department there. So creating a housing for minority teachers, I think that is a plus.
I want to see it. I would love to see a situation where black businesses can go into Dudley and thrive and do well right off the bat, no matter what time of day. Even if there's nothing else going on, that the business is quality, people support this person, and they come into that area during the night to get whatever wares people might be selling. We have a caller, and we have a new panelist that's just joined us. And I want to get some viewpoints too from the millennial community, from the younger folks, to hear what they think about black business in the community. Caller, where are you from and what's your name?
Calling from Roxbury. This is Sadiq Campbell.
Sadiq, what's up, brother? How you doing, black man?
Well, when you start talking about our cultural desert down there at Dudley, and I think about what the comment made about drugs and crime. Well, the bottom line is that there's no real feel of pride of our community for that location, and there are a lot of problems there. So, folks, you're well aware of the fact that we have a campaign going on to have Dudley Square renamed Nubian Square.
That's
and people
right.
are saying,
I was going to mention that.
That's just that's a symbolic act. How's it going to change anything? Right. Well, the bottom line is that when people have something, a name that they can relate to, then there's a different sense in terms of their commitment to the area and what we do with that area instead of running out to the suburbs. So I know we talk to young people about this all the time, and when we talk to them about Nubian Square. Of course, they want to know about the Nubians, one of the most powerful empires, African empires in the history of the world. They light up with pride. Yeah, I know you see our signs out there, welcome to Nubian Square, because we're naming it, because we're going to claim it. We got a lot of momentum going from elected officials, neighborhood associations, religious institutions across the board, not only in the Berry, but across the entire community, because it was mentioned before, that's our primary transportation port. We're dealing with the state about changing the station name. We're going to make this happen. And so we believe it's going to be part of the transformation of seeing to it that it's a disgrace that our primary commercial shopping district in our community is named after former slave owners.
Sure. Let me ask you a question, Siddiqui. Siddiqui, let me ask you a question. Do you have a question for our panel?
Well, yeah. The bottom line is that I'm putting it out as a question, but I would hope that the basic mindset would be supportive of this. But would folks on that panel say yes, without a doubt, we support taking down the name of a slave owner in our primary shopping district? As Mel King, who was our honorary campaign chair, stated to the mayor, we finally got a meeting with the mayor. He said, you know what? This is about inhumanity. What is the question? Why are we holding this process up? Let's move ahead and make this change.
I appreciate your call, Sadiq. I appreciate your statement. We've been joined by another panelist, Faja Harris, and I really like to hear from somebody younger. You got to come into the microphone, Faja. What about young business in the community? Do you see many of the younger 20-something-year-olds in the community feeling comfortable to try to develop a new business in the community, that the community will come out and support them? You got to come into the microphone.
Okay. Sorry, wasn't prepared for this. But I hope I answer your question correctly, or answer it in general. I feel like I hate the word millennials, but for
young people,
my age group, I find that our businesses that we look at, or businesses that we partake in, are usually online. So it's a different world in general. So it's really not color-based. It's more so human, who you are, what you see, what you like. So I mean, it's harder that way to say an answer this is what we want or this is what it is. But in regards to the businesses that are black owned that we support online and stuff, I find that I like ones that I can relate to. So
such as
kinky curly hair, because my hair is kinky and curly.
Sure.
Or just paintings and artists that are directed towards girls who look like me. So it's more so what you relate to, and I find that in black owned businesses there's a lot that I can relate to.
Sure.
And I find that people my age find that important.
Sure.
So we do support black owned businesses.
And I want this question too, and this is kind of because I see Makia this is kind of a selfish question, and we're going to take some questions from Jay around the country. But I work hard. I work really hard. My girl and I, we just got back from Aruba, took a vacation. But we're always thinking about Fridays, Saturdays. Where can we go? Where can we go to relax? Where can we see other professionals? Where can we see other people that work as hard as us, that look like us? I'm going to say kind of Taro and Mukia and Faja. What's going on with the black social scene? What do we need to do to generate something? And it's something. I talked to some of the old timers. They told me the black scene here, social-wise, with quality clubs and restaurants, were consistent in Boston. I don't believe it because I didn't see it. What do we do?
When I came up, we had Basin Street South, and
I've heard of Basin Street
South was on Washington Street, and every Sunday they would have a Coke sip for the young people who couldn't get into the club to see the entertainment. So whatever entertainment they brought into town on a Sunday, you could go to the bar. You would have a Coke because they wouldn't serve you anything else, and you would see entertainment for free. For free. We used to have more clubs up and down Washington Street, Tremont Street, Columbus Avenue than you could ever think of. My mother and her age group, they used to hang out.
Yeah.
And even in terms of away from the community, when Blue Hill Ave became a real sort of mega highway in the community, we used to walk to Franklin Field to see the fireworks.
Sure.
They don't have them anymore.
Sure.
But we used to hang out in Franklin Park.
That would be a nice social
we,
scene.
We had everything we did in the community because our parents introduced us to the stuff in the community.
Terrell, you're the king of the social life. What's going on, man? Why don't we have more?
So-
and I don't want to direct people away from slaves, not at all, because you're doing things down there. But why isn't there more and the consistency around that?
So let me just piggyback on what you were saying. As far as the South End, yes, there was over 20 or 30 different spots in that general area that you could go to. Today, the last standing three are Slade's, my place, Wally's, and Daryl's Corner Bar and Grill. So what we're going to do now is we're going to create like a sort of memorial to this. We're going to call it some try something area of the last standing sort of black businesses that have been there. Slade's has been an existing business for 85 years. It's the oldest black owned.
Shout out to Frank Williams.
beer business in the state of Massachusetts. Slade's is, and Wally's is second, and Daryl's is third, which used to be called
Bob the Chefs.
Chefs. So yeah, we want to sort of, from a historic perspective, make this a cultural district for black entertainment. So that's one of our goals that we're working on this year, to create a try something area. If anyone have any suggestions around names for that area,
SWD, Slade's, Wally's, and Daryl's.
I like the name Tracy's.
Yeah, I like
Tracy's. There you go.
Well, it's just some of the greatest entertainers in the world have been there. I want to create sort of like a Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Oh yeah,
going
that's on
down,
money too.
I like that.
Yeah,
That's excellent.
around Slade's, around that sidewalk, we could put some of the greatest names that been there, from Muhammad Ali, which people have seen online.
I saw Gladys Knight and
Malcolm
Pimp
X,
years ago.
all of the major stars have been there. We want to, create a district around.
Sure.
Around.
We're gonna do a spotlight on that, but really quickly, Faja, what is it like now for young people? When I was young, there were parties everywhere. Of course, there's a safety issue. Are there places that the young black folks can go to now? College students, where you're not dealing with all the knucklehead stuff, that you can go to, feel safe, and have a good time.
No.
Yeah. I do go out in Boston. I don't enjoy myself when I go out. That's my honest answer.
Why not?
It's just not, it's in the simplest way, it's just not the greatest vibe.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a big music fan, and I love music, so that's why I really go out. And I really haven't found a place where I completely and totally just yes, this is it for me. I do find myself in places like Slade's from time to time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but
Live
it's
music, live music.
Yeah, but I'd like to be someplace where they're my age more so. I love hanging out with my mother.
Sure.
But it's I want to go to a place and hang out with my friends. You know.
Sure.
Monday night at Slade's is coming college night.
And I want to say this to folks in power too. Our social life is key to our growth. It's key to our development. It's key to everything that is for hard-working folks, and to keeping your mind together, keeping your body together, keeping the families together. We only have 3 minutes left. I want to give people an opportunity to say a few words. Jay, give me a question that someone from around the country asked, and I apologize.
It's all good. We've been getting a lot of these questions, and as you know, as we having this conversation, I'm trying to jot them down. And it says we have. Let me see. Okay, we have Padrine from Sacramento, California. She wrote, "To what do each of your guests attribute to their success in their perspective in their business?
What has made you successful in regards to carrying you through whatever you're doing business-wise in the community?" Eddie?
I think mostly starts with my family. I'm first generation attorney, and my mother and father gave me what it took for the hard work in New York. I'm originally from the South, so I saw black people struggle. We grew up near Rosewood, So we know what the Klan and racism was, and went to New York and understood the hustle of New York.
Sure.
And Boston never really ever had the hustle of New York, but you start to see black people that own and control and operate their own businesses, and that's what I want it to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about you, Terrell?
I always said, I've come over the years with a saying: think about it, plan about it, do about it now. And that's what I basically live by, and be persistent and consistent until you can't do something that you dream about as an entrepreneur.
Sure. Let me, Muki, I want to go to you really quickly. The field that you worked in for so long, I've been in it, I'm doing it now. Very unappreciative, the work that we do. What has kept you 35 years fighting for the community? We have 1 minute, so I need 30 seconds.
Well,
What has kept you
real
fighting?
quick, my mentors. I've had some phenomenal mentors. I mean, people who have just taken me under their wing and have taught me everything that they know. Mel King, Chuck Turner, Eddie Jenkins. I mean, I could name a list. Sandra Graham, Doris Bunty. I mean, really, I have been so blessed with the opportunity to interface with some very intellectual and very experienced people.
And folks, all the work that she's done, give back and support. Cameron, say a few words.
Yeah, I think mostly is my passion for transformation of underutilized spaces. No matter if that space is a small restaurant or is gallery, art gallery, or is a big building or hotel or the neighborhood, I think the passion to see something gets better, I think that's what has been.
I love that, my brother. I love that, my brother. Faja, what do we as folks in the community need to do in order to make younger folks think about getting involved in business, in their own business?
I'd say make things a little bit more relatable to them. Sometimes we lose sight and we clash heads, because you're coming from just a different form of life and a different perspective. So because keywords are lost in translation, it becomes like an argument, and that's not really what it needs to be. And I'd say that we need to educate ourselves about gentrification and just supporting black businesses and supporting ourselves, because if we don't do that, then we kind of end our existence, and that's not.
Well, you fly, girl. I never see you talk like this. You're a fly doing your thing. Jay, what do you have to say? What do you think about today's discussion, Jay?
Man, I think this discussion was very, very important. It shows us that we have to circle the wagons, and we have certain people that's already in place to really do what we need to do to really create that that camaraderie. That camaraderie. So
I'm sorry, folks. We didn't stick to our normal schedule, our normal format. This is a little different. I want to thank all our panelists for being here. We are getting ready to get busy and rock with the Patriots. We're going to do some special things today. Jay, take us out.
Folks, keep knocking, keep rocking. This is what's on the menu. I'll holler.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
We're good.
Thank you. Thank you. Just real quick. Right outside.